All right, ladies and gentlemen, it appears that there has been an update, a change made to Brant on February 22nd that has caused some massive problems with his kit. And it turns out, with only 6 days left until his release at the time of posting of this Reddit post by iPengu White, there's not a lot of time left to get this resolved, get this fixed, and actually have his kit performing properly. And so with that, the issue here is not on Brant's echo building. It's not on necessarily his gameplay as a whole. It's about one feature of his kit that invalidates the entire purpose of his kit, or the entire purpose of, all of his different features. And that small issue that's turning into a massive one based off of his gameplay is his dodge counter. And so with that, this individual has made a lot of posts in the Brant main subreddit talking about why this is a problem. It boils down into, we are punished for doing the dodge counter. It ruins his field time. It doesn't have synergy with his sequence nodes. It causes a lot of issues that weren't present prior to February 22nd. And so with that, this is just a lot of text. This is really just an explanation. Let's get into an actual live demo and explain what the issues actually are here. So this is going to be the fight with Lorelei that we have in the 2.1 story quest that, players are able to freely use Brant and experiment with some of his combos alongside Rover and Phoebe. And this is recorded after February 22nd. As you can see, Brant just did a dodge. And now he's going to follow up with a dodge counter while in the air. That dodge counter proceeded to put him on the ground. It put him on the ground. And he has to continue the rest of his combo while on the ground. And the reason why this is such a big issue is pretty damn simple. When it comes to Brant's kit and how he functions, there's one critical component of how he works, and that is basically his mid-air attacks. When Brant goes through various parts of his attack sequences, he'll do things like flips. These flips will go ahead, they'll reset his mid-air dodge attempts. There's something that he has to do very often to access the most damaging parts of his combos, and most importantly of all, generate his forte circuit, Ocean Odyssey, which gives him access to his enhanced resonance skill, Return from Ashes. And as we all know, Return from Ashes is probably one of the hardest hitting moves in the game. At level 1, this has like a 665% motion value just on the final hit. And the problem is, the slower it takes for you to access this move, the longer it takes for you to actually build up this Bravo is basically going to determine how good the character is. Because if he takes too long to get through his rotation, then he's just not as good of a sub DPS when his role is to provide that burst and then swap off. He obtains Bravo in a bunch of different ways, right? Normal attacks, intro, resonance skill, but the best way is through his mid-air attacks. His regular basic attacks don't generate nearly as much Bravo as these mid-air attacks. And ladies and gentlemen, what that means is that when you are playing the game, you're doing dodge counters, and you're in the air, and you're trying to build up that Bravo, right? That meter down here as fast as possible, and you do a dodge counter, and now you're put in the state where you build up that forte circuit slower. That's a pretty goddamn big issue. That's something that players are going to find really unsynergistic with his design, where you're getting punished, you're losing efficiency, you're losing value in his kit from interacting with one of the core mechanics of the game, dodging an enemy's attack. That's something that in Wuwa is like essential for actually getting the game to work. Because if Brant doesn't dodge this, he's going to get hit out of the air anyways, and the combo's over, and he's on the ground, and there's basically no recourse, right? He's going to have to go back up into the air and restart the combo. But if dodging it is just going to put you on the ground in the exact same spot, maybe doing a little bit of that dodge counter damage, it's still a massive problem. And so you either get hit, get sent to the ground, or you dodge and then get sent to the ground anyways. And you are not able to fully utilize his kit. You won't get these flips. You won't get these mid-air dodge attempts reset. Perhaps the most importantly of all, you won't be able to access the power of his sequence nodes if you're dodging. Because the first one, right after your intro skill, gain 20% additional damage. After each flip in your mid-air attacks chain, gain 20% damage, stacks up to 3 times. What this means is that on this live version that we have right now, if you dodge, your sequence node 1 is just not going to be usable because you won't be able to use those flips anymore. And this is devastating. This is genuinely devastating, but it gets worse. you have a sequence node 2. Casting a mid-air attack or his forte enhanced skill will increase his crit rate by 30%. And guess what, guys? If you're on the ground, like after his dodge counter, you won't be able to use those mid-air attacks either. And so his sequence node 1 and his sequence node 2, if you use a dodge counter, basically cannot be activated or cannot be used in the proper way. You're gonna have to get back up into the air, do a super clunky rotation, and it's awful considering the fact that Brant's rotation, well, his intro skill, it spawns you in the air. This intro skill spawns you in the air, and it starts your basic attack chain in the air at stage 2. And so again, his entire kit focuses on his ability to be in the air. And if you're not, you lose out on a massive amount of damage potential, and you lose out incredibly on your rotation. And when you look at his S6 as well, guess what, guys? There's another buff to the mid-air attacks too. And so all of these things in his kit are focused on the mid-air attacks. They're focused on advancing into the various stages as fast as possible. Because guess what? When certain attacks in his mid-air attack chain are hitting very frequently, right? We're seeing over here, 6 hits, 3 hits, 6 hits over here. These are the moves that are charging up his forte circuit the fastest. And when he doesn't have access to those, that return from the ashes, right? This massive motion value that we're seeing over here, that's just going to take longer and longer and longer to get to. And this is the thing, ladies and gentlemen. This is the worst part about all of it, is that the game originally wasn't like this. Brant's gameplay was not like this, and here's why. We're gonna see over here in this following clip what his rotation actually looked like before after doing a dodge counter. You're gonna see the date over here is on 2/19. He does the dodge. He just did the dodge animation in the air. And now he's just continuing his basic attack chain in the air. He's doing those flips, right? He's doing these flips. That reset. That flip over there, that's resetting his attack chain, right? Or that's resetting his mid-air dodge attempts and is giving bonuses like his S1. Those flips, he's not gaining access to those in the current version. He's going right to the ground. And let me be honest, ladies and gentlemen. I've got my video where I show what one of his optimal combos looks like. And let me be honest here. I recorded this video showing some of Brant's combos prior to the 20-second patch. And let me be honest in saying that some of these combos are just not going to be possible. I believe this one in particular is not going to be possible. Where we go in, we intro skill it. We're going to intro skill in onto Brant here. We intro skill in. You see we're in the air. We're then going to liberation, right? Amplify that Bravo buildup. And our goal is to just do a full combo while in the air to generate this Forte circuit as fast as possible. We do a dodge there, right? I would have been on the ground on the current live version of the patch if I followed up on that attack with a dodge counter. But because this was before the 20-second patch, I'm still continuing my mid-air attack chain after this dodge over here. And let's be honest here, ladies and gentlemen. This looks pretty smooth. This looks pretty fun. And if we've lost the ability to do something like this in our gameplay, that is a massive, massive issue. You won't be able to pull off these combos nearly as smooth or nearly as effectively across your teams. Here's another one. This is going to be way harder to do. Because look how fast his rotation can be if you're doing it all in the air. Look how fast I just got his Forte circuit. You can actually count the seconds. It's like 3 or 4. And that's all just from his mid-air attacks. It's already ready. It's already ready from this little field time. That is how powerful his mid-air attacks are. And losing access to these, ladies and gentlemen, it's a devastating blow to his kit. And it's going to cause massive issues for many players, especially those who might have watched a video like this or tested him out on 2.1 prior to this 20-second. These dodge counters not allowing him to reach his optimal combos and basically fucking around with his rotation completely is in a lot of ways going to kill the character because it's this simple. There's one character in particular in this game who gets massively punished for doing dodge counters. And it is the one character that everyone thinks is the clunkiest and one of the worst in the games. And that character is Calcharo. Calcharo is one of the only other characters in the game who gets a massive debuff from using dodge counters in their kit. And this guy, if he launches with this massive fucking problem, then players are not going to be happy. He is going to be close to actually unplayable. It's going to get to the point of maybe even offering refunds, because this is not at all. The current live version that we're seeing right now is nothing like the kit that we had in the actual trial. This is nothing like it. This is bad. This is terrible. He has half the Bravo buildup. And when it used to look like this, where he just continues his basic attack chain after a dodge, and then builds up his Bravo, his Forte circuit, in a pretty normal way, this might just EOS the character at launch. And so yes, this entire post, this issue, talking about how we need to correct Brant's dodge counter issue, it actually is one of the last chances that are available. It is in a lot of ways, and hopefully I've given the reasons why. It is going to make the character dead on arrival. Because when you punish a character for doing things like dodge counters, for adhering to the basic mechanics of the game, that is a massive, massive issue. And when you have things like sequence nodes, he has 3 of them, 3 sequence nodes that entirely focus on mid-air attacks, buffing their damage, giving buffs, or using them correctly for going through his attack chains, and we're losing the ability to actually access them if we use a dodge counter. That is one of the most unsynergistic implementations that the game can have. And so my solution is, right, just revert it back to the live version, or give him a special dodge counter in the air that gives the reward of extra damage, but then keeps him in the air if he fucking uses it. Because right now, this works, but this one over here, it does not. Putting him on the ground does not work at all. And so with that, I know a lot of people are very, very, very excited for Brant's release. People are only posting stuff like this because they are excited for Brant's release. And I'm going to be honest, after reviewing all of the footage, everybody here, all of these complaints, the Brant main subreddit highlighting the issue, it's entirely, completely, 1000 fucking % warranted. And it's going to make this character, if he ships like this on live, it is going to make him one of the clunkiest in the game and give him issues that players didn't experience before. I think that this was an attempt to give him access to dodge counters while in the air, but they've kind of completely bungled the fucking implementation. And hopefully, with enough coverage, with enough news on this, we're able to get more of Kuro's eyes on fixing this issue, because he cannot launch like this. So with that, let me know what you all think. Peace.